on RiverBender.com.
Look around your world, pretty baby. Is it everything you hoped it'd be? The wrong guy, the wrong situation, the right time to roll to me. Roll to me.
Welcome back at 10:14. Flora and Sheila, we are learning all about a really cool class coming down the pipeline at Riverbend Yoga. Now, fill me in on this, Flora. You were telling me on the phone, animals as carriers of divine love. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I believe, and many people do, that animals are soul too. Mm-hmm. And we are going to have a discussion about that. And the divine kinship is that relationship that we have. You have relationships with your girlfriend, your spouse, your whatever, your kids. We have relationships with our animals too. And if we realize their soul, it can go deeper.
100%. And Sheila, you have a story or two with some animals in your lives. Would you like to fill me in?
Oh, I do. I've not had a dog or a cat in a long time, but I have these amazing birds in my backyard that I feed. And of course, the pesky little squirrels love to be a part of it. And I found that, if I speak to the squirrels, which sounds a little odd, and I ask them to stay out of the feeder and feed on the ground, then they listen, which is remarkable to me,
That is cool. Well, and it really is, just seeing, some of the folks that I know that have, animals in their, maybe it's just wildlife that comes out and visits them, once or twice a day for feeding or maybe just some leisure. And on top of that, the domesticated pets in our lives, because there is a spiritual bond between an animal and a person. I mean, just for me and my dogs, my pig, my, any other animal I've had, you connect and you understand each other and you don't even speak the same noise.
Well, the divine, to me, because really relationships, bottom line, are about love. Unconditional love.
Yep.
And animals give that in spades. Mm-hmm. We can be cross with our animals, but they will come right back. Especially dogs. They'll wag their tail, even if they've been in trouble. They always come unconditionally. There's no other. They know so much about divine love. Animals, all animals,
yes.
Different forms, but all soul.
And, Flora, let me talk to you more about this. When did you really start to gather a true, deep understanding about that divine love from animals? Because, we've always seen it, as people, whether or not we've had a dog in our lives or maybe a friend or family member has had pets, we kind of know about it. But for you, when did you really start to go deeper into this conversation and understand there's more there?
It's interesting that you asked that question because back when I was 7 years old, I had a connection. We had a collie, and her name was Laddie, because Lassie was big back then. And
sorry,
that dog and I, that soul and I, had this connection. He would, maybe it was a boy. I don't remember at 7, but we called it Laddie. So I guess it was a boy because Lassie is a girl. Latin, that makes sense. My mother wouldn't have gone for Laddie for a girl. So anyway, Laddie would walk with me to school, would sit outside until I came out, and then would walk home with me. I would talk. We had 6 kids in my family, so there was a lot of alone time, if you will, with the animals.
Yeah.
And we had other animals too. And the thing is that as I grew up, and Laddie eventually passed on, and there was this like hole in my heart. And so other pets would come in, and then when I grew up Catholic. When I went away to college, I found another spiritual path that was right for me. Everybody has theirs, and I think I told you about Eckankar.
Yes.
And this class is sponsored by Eckankar. And Eckankar is basically the path of spiritual freedom. And when I became a student of Eckankar, that is a major principle, is that every being is soul. That you could even look at a plant that you nurture, and have a relationship with. I have plants that I talk to, and there is an energy. There is soul in there. And so that's probably started way back then, and it fit right into my philosophy.
You know, and now that you say that, because we've talked about this before, and it's just, you can always tell, you know, I've in my past, you know, delivery business and all the things I've done, you know, I've had the opportunity to meet with so many, in my case, older individuals that have those relationships with their plants, with their, you know, animals, with their wildlife, and you can see the fulfillment in them. You know, you can see the overwhelming joy they just have as a person. You know, it's just a whole different atmosphere and aurora around those individuals that truly have those relationships. It's very enlightening for that person and for all of us, and you can easily tell that too.
That's what we're going to be talking about during the class.
Yeah.
There's a book called Animals Are Sold To.
And who wrote this one?
Harold Klemp. He is the spiritual
Wonderful.
leader of Eckankar, but he is also the stories in here. There's also a blog, because if people don't want to come to the in-person class, I do have one of the cards, because I wanted to share that. Here it is. Animals Are Sold To. There's a blog on the front, and there's stories after story after story of people who belong to Eckankar and other religions and other paths that have these tremendous,
Stories of love and protection.
There's one story that resonates with me, and it's not in this book, but somebody sent it to me, and it's a video of a deer, and she stood in the middle of the road, and the driver came up. Maybe you heard of this. Did you hear of this?
No, I haven't. I'm following along.
He drove up, and she just stood there, and he waited for her to go, and she wouldn't go, and then she looked at him and turned around and started walking. So he thought, what? So he pulled off. It's like she wanted him to follow her. He followed her to a backyard. He walked. He followed her to a backyard, and in the backyard, her baby, a fawn, was stuck in a soccer net.
Oh, wow.
And so when he started to approach the fawn, well, the mother started running back and forth, because it made her nervous.
Yep.
And he freed the little fawn. The fawn jumped up, ran after the mother.
Isn't that awesome?
And it's awesome. Well, that's not the end of the story. Then he walks back to his car. And when he gets to his car, the mother is standing there with the fawn, looking at him. The fawn comes up, goes down on both, like, his legs, and bows like this. Like, thank you. Well, and he petted him, and then he got up and went off.
You know, I feel like, and this has always been my thinking on things, because humans are, you know, ruin a lot of things for a lot of people and generations. And I think, you know, easily, whenever our ancestors were roaming and we were nomads, I think that's exactly how all of our relationships with animals worked. I really think that it was more of a harmonious, you know, evolution. And then all of a sudden, you know, we kind of ruined that trust and bond, because I really think that it's imprinted in animals now going forward because of all the destruction of their habitats and everything else that we've done to wildlife and the 200 years that we've been inhabiting this country and even beyond that, you know, and I think that's what kind of started. I always have this feeling that, you know, whenever we were first here, that we did have that same type of relationship, and we just kind of strayed it.
American Indians have a huge history with animals, and every animal was sacred. The stories about what they did with the buffalo, that every part of the buffalo was used, and then they honored and thanked the spirit of the buffalo.
Yeah.
There's medicine. Animals are there's I don't know. They're like
Medicine
totems.
cards.
Medicine cards. There's the energy that animals have. Every animal. There's something about being and sharing these stories.
Yep, 100%.
And that's what we're hoping to do, is to help each other recognize that divine source that's everywhere around us. Not just in animals, and other people too.
Yeah. Well, and before we move forward on this, you know, I think just to have those conversations, this presentation too is helping us kind of get out of our own way in a little bit too, because I think so many of us, life's crazy right now. You turn on the big four news, there's a lot of distractions. But to really have this conversation and refocus, recenter on that connection of animals and human, I think that's going to help propel us to kind of stop and smell the roses in a way too, and really find the enlightenment and joy that nature and animals and their divine souls bring.
That I've always been here.
And it's not just animals, it is, when we start to see each other as soul, it makes us not see the knucklehead that's,
You're
presenting this, but it lets us see the spark of God that each of us are. So, I'm a little more patient with the people on the news or the people,
She looked at
driving
me.
crazy.
She's more patient with me.
That's right. And that takes a lot. No.
More patient. Did you notice that?
Yeah, all I know is that, Sheila, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your connection with your birds, if it's okay. Does it, in terms of just your day-to-day life, if you, let's just say, God forbid, something happened tomorrow and the birds didn't show up or you didn't have those birds a part of your life, would there be a hole in your opinion?
Well, I think so, because I wake up to their sound, and I love it and I appreciate it, and I think that's what keeps them coming back. Of course, the food as well. But,
yeah, that's true.
But I think that, God would send something else to fill that void. I don't think there's ever a void if you are truly connected, in whatever way you are with the universe or God, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I would miss them, but the squirrels would be back.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And now take me through this. So April the 4th is the first installment, correct? Noon to 1 p.m.?
Yes, next Thursday. A week from,
Next Thursday. Isn't it crazy? I'm telling you.
Is this Thursday?
It is. So,
Oh, my God.
Can I just tell we were talking before the break, or before we came on. This has just been like the green mile of a month, it's never ended. And we finally made it through. April 4th is next Thursday. I know it's wild.
It's a week from today.
And then having an early Easter always throws me off into a loop,
It is early. It is
and so anyway, it's next week, and this is great. It's right over here next door to us at 100 West 3rd Street. That, of course, is the address to the one and only Riverbend
Yoga.
They're the best. I just love
are the
everything the
best.
They
Willers
really
do.
are.
Mike and his mom are just wonderful people.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Vicky is
Vicky.
amazing.
Vicky is amazing. And
Emily is too.
yeah, she's been on the show, I believe. I've had a few from
Emily
Riverbend
is
Yoga.
something else. Yeah.
I just love it because they're preserving the building. It looks beautiful.
And they're pet friendly.
Yes, I know. I'm so. So I got to share the story because we're talking about divine love, and I have a puppy. When I bought my first home last year, and thank you, John Hendrick and RiverBender.com, provided me this great job to be able to do that, of course. But my mom said, you really need to have a companion because we were always animal lovers. Right. I had chickens in a neighborhood. I've had pigs. You name it. I've done it all, and dogs. But we connected with Nico, and I went up there, and I left work right at 11 o'clock because Metro East Humane Society said they're going to go quick. We have puppies, and I found one that I wanted. I knew it was him, and gave him the name of Nico on the way home. But by the time, the couple of months, watching him grow, but also seeing how he's kind of making me check my own self about maybe some of my, frustrations, maybe some of my impatience and all of that. I mean, it's a great reflective tool because your dog's going to imprint what you're putting out. If you're acting crazy, so is your dog,
Right.
And that's what I've noticed, though, is just, those relationships, and him looking at me like, all right, man, are we ready to go for our walk today? Or what about if we go outside and look? You can just tell that he is living life and he knows exactly what he wants to do. It's just amazing.
I love that you said when you went to the Humane Society there that you just knew.
Yep, I did.
And see, that's something that we have, that connection. You just know that there is something between the two of you, soul to soul. And we talked about the hue before. It's a carrier of divine love between soul and God. And we sing, and we'll probably sing it for maybe about 3 minutes. It's a spiritual exercise. It's a tool to connect with our animals, our any human being or any soul, like you were talking about. It really helps to calm. And you can just think the word you can think it, sometimes I'm going through something and I'm Hugh. And I'll tell you, after 10 minutes of that, for me anyway, it's a calming effect. My dog Bob, when he translated, which is a form of, which we say in Ekankar is death, because your soul doesn't die. Physical body does, soul goes on.
100%.
So when he passed, He was at the vet shop. The doctor's office.
That's pretty much what it is. You know, when they bring that bill out, it's definitely a shop.
But he was at the doctor's office, and I'd asked them for low lighting. I was going to put him on his doggy bed, and I was playing. I wanted to play the Hughes song because it always calmed him. It calmed both of us. And when I went there, they had said yes, and so they said we don't have a low lighting, but they put candles all around the room.
Oh wow!
And Bob laid on the mat, his doggy bed, and I sat down next to him, and Hugh was playing, and I felt a presence. It's like I just felt that he was so ready to go. And the doctor, they give 2 shots, the first to relax him and the second to put them down. He gave him the first shot. Bob was gone. That's my dog's name. I felt his spirit. I just felt him leap out of that old body. And it made such a difference to me that we can see that we can recognize each other. And that was the Hughes song for me and Bob.
100%. And I mean, it really does. In those situations, recognizes really just life in general, you know, and that really those stages of life. Because, you know, obviously as people, we don't get to experience that with ourselves because, you know, by the time we move on down the road, you know, there's a whole nother chapter getting started and we aren't able to tell anybody about it. Well, you know, in person. But with animals, you're able to see that, you know, transition of life happen.
Yes.
And you're really right about that. I mean, you can tell the moment that, you know, so any beings at peace with themselves, with the time to move on, it's a really beautiful thing.
Well, that's with humans too.
Yeah.
I've done hospice work, and in hospice work, you really learn to listen to the person that's transitioning. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're here and there at the same time. Spiritually, their soul is here and there. And one woman, she saw her animals. Mm-hmm. She didn't have any children, but she saw her animals there waiting for her when she crossed over.
It's just incredible. I mean, it's really just incredible.
I mean, you can see it, like you said, and it really helps to have the piece of the animal with you, and knowing you're going to them. There's that love, the divine love.
Yep.
And if you keep that divine connection and you believe in reincarnation as we do, that soul can come back to you, you know, as in a different form. Maybe as a dog, maybe as a cat, you know. But it's like when you recognize Nico.
Yep.
You know, you've obviously been together before.
You're right.
I believe.
I do too. I 100% do believe that too. And we've already been talking for 20 minutes. This is wild how fast this time flies. I'm telling you, it's
thank
like,
you, CJ.
no. I thank you because we're going to talk more about this. I think this is so cool. More presentations that are coming down the pipeline, correct?
Right.
And I wanted to ask before I let you go, Sheila, what are you looking forward to the most about this presentation on Thursday, April the 4th, from noon to 1 p.m. over there at Riverbend Yoga? What are you looking forward to?
I love to hear other people's stories about their pets like you just shared, you know, because it gives me a new perspective on my own beliefs and my own, you know, yay, you know, and it's an incredible book. You know, even if you read one chapter about it, you would love it.
And you don't have to have the book to be part of the class, though.
Right.
I just wanted to mention, in case someone doesn't want to come in person, they like to do that, it's the www.animalsoursoul.blog. So many stories. They would just really enjoy that.
Absolutely. And once again, that's animalsoursoul.blog, or for the in-person, stop by Riverbend Yoga on the 4th of April from noon to 1 p.m. and have a great conversation about animals as carriers of divine love right there at Riverbend Yoga. Thank you guys so much for your time today.
Thank you, CJ.
Oh, never a problem.
Lovely.
I love speaking with you all the time. We'll take a quick pause and we'll come back. We are celebrating Piston Aviation, the grand opening over there at the St. Louis Regional Airport, the flight school, a new location. We get all the details right after this. Get over here in the heart of the 618.